So, I was originally going to title this video Work Stories, and it was supposed to be about all of the interesting things that have ever happened in the jobs I've had. But as I was writing down these stories, I realized that none of them were very positive. And I'm not talking about getting yelled at by a customer. Some of these stories are straight up tragedies. But it's weird that it's all happened to me, so I'm going to talk about it. My very first job was at a commonly known sandwich chain that tends to attract YouTube animators for some reason. It was fine, but when I worked there, our uniform shirts came in 3 forms. One had the word fresh on it, another had bold, and the last had spicy. Most employees had a mix of all 3, but for some reason, probably because no one else wanted them, I only got one type. Guess which? As you can imagine, this interaction happened way too much. So, are you spicy? Look, man, I just want to know if you want guacamole. So, one day, when it was busy, I look up from the line, and I see a guy who's just wailing on another guy, and before any of us employees can do anything, the punchy guy runs outside and starts yelling at the other guy to come outside so they can have a proper fight, and the guy who just got punched is just like, I guess I live here now. Punchy guy ran away when the cops pulled up, and that was my first time ever talking to a police officer, so that's cool. There was also this other time that the restaurant flooded with sewage, and me and my friend from high school had to clean it up, and that significantly sucked. My next job was as a waitress in an Italian restaurant, and it was significantly less fancy than you'd think, but I actually enjoyed my time there because the tips were great and my coworkers were cool. I actually worked there with my little brother Davis. What up, Davis? Anyway, this was 2021, so I had just gotten my second round of the COVID vaccine. It was an important vaccine to get, but do you guys remember how it made you so sick for the next day or two? I remember having like this big old lump on my arm at the injection site. Anyways, I worked through the pain, and then just when it was going away, I get stung by an Arizona bark scorpion. Just the most venomous scorpion in North America. Oh, it was awful. The thing stung me right on the vaccine's injection site, and it felt like my arm was going to burn off. My joints started to get stiff, my eyes were crazy twitchy, and I couldn't focus on anything. When I drank water, it tasted like poison, and my tongue was all swollen. My forearm ballooned until it was like this angry lump of red skin. But scorpion stings were common, and none of my family had ever dealt with anything other than some pain. So I just told myself to stop being a baby and go to work. Kids, if you get stung by a scorpion, go to the hospital. When I do get to work, who do I see but the very same nurse who administered my vaccine? I remember her face when she looked at me, and it was just like, oh. And I'm just standing there like, can I get you started with some drinks? And she was like, I've never seen someone react so badly to the vaccine. And I was like, yeah, can I interest you in some of our fettuccine? So this is probably the worst story, but I was a graphic designer at this place that had their warehouse below the office I worked at, and one day a guy in the warehouse got fired, so he said he was going to come back and kill everyone. And instead of being concerned and maybe calling the police, my bosses were basically just like, I bet, and did nothing. The dude came back, obviously to fulfill his promise, but he got tackled and everyone was fine. And then I got the rest of the day off, so that was, yeah. After that job, I moved, so I took work at a retirement home, and I slipped on the wet floor and dislocated my knee, so that's the end of that story. Once my knee healed, I took a job at a coffee shop, and within seconds of my first shift, they gave me a large iced coffee to hand to a customer, and I immediately spilled it all over myself, my coworker, and the floor. Funny because I only worked there for one day before immediately getting hired at a different place that paid better, so I bet those baristas just remember me as a random girl who spilt coffee on them and dipped. The new place that hired me was a printing place that also shipped and received mail for its clients. It was nice for the most part, but I did have to carry around a lot of Cologuard boxes. There was this one time this guy asked me if we had any thick paper we used for printing, and so I showed him some, and he was like, perfect, and so he sent me something to print on the paper. He was very specific, it had to be in color, and when I opened up the file, it was just a straight up passport. Dude, you've got to be more discreet than this. If you don't know, unless the government tells you you can't just print out IDs in color for obvious reasons. So he got mad and stormed out, and then he waited in the parking lot for a long time, I assumed to beat me up when my shift was over. But joke's on him, my shift wasn't over for another 5 hours. So, yeah, he left. There was also this other time that this guy came in looking for a package, and he seemed pretty frantic, and I told him we didn't accept packages for people who didn't have a mailbox with us, and that really made him mad, so he starts yelling at me, and coincidentally, my big brother is visiting me at work at the very same time. My brother is this guy from my previous videos, and I think the way I draw him doesn't really convey how tall and physically imposing he is, which is funny because he's basically just the sweetest guy ever. So basically this guy looks over and sees my brother and is just like, okay, never mind, you don't have it, bye. Me and my brother still laugh about that one. So one day, as I was getting ready to go into work, I get a text from my boss telling me not to come in. So basically, I'm just like, oh, is there no power or something? And she says, no. The building is on fire! Excuse me, what? Guys, the curse is real, I'm cursed, and it's over. The top of the building, where they have all the stuff that the customer sees, was fine. But the bottom part, the basement, burned. Complete disaster. Completely burned. Everyone was completely fine, but wow. Just wow. I wish I could put together a good conclusion to these stories, but I don't know what to think. I have questions. Why did this all happen? Why is it the places I work? Why am I making a YouTube video about it? What conclusions are people supposed to draw from this? This is just sad. Hopefully YouTube works out, man. Hopefully the curse can't migrate to the digital realm, or I'm oh, that's stupid. Another end to another video, baby. I'm just gonna shout out my two favorite coworkers here, Tatum and Sienna, who worked at the unnamed sandwich place with me. You made Slingin' Sammy so much more bearable. I miss you and I love you. Anyways, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Drop a tragedy work story in the comments. And if you didn't enjoy, don't tell me or I'll cry. Okay, thanks, bye!